All right, so over the past week, I've been getting this question a lot. Should you close old credit cards? Maybe you're wondering if you have a credit card that's charging you a high annual fee that you don't need. Maybe you have a card that's just super old or you don't even use it. Or maybe you don't want the temptation of having a credit card. Maybe you're just like, I just want to simplify my finances and have 2 cards only. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what you should do, when you should close a card, when you should keep it open, options in terms of keeping it open so you don't have to close it, or if the card's charging you high annual fee. There's a few main reasons why someone would consider closing their credit cards. One, it's charging you a ridiculously high annual fee that just makes no sense, right? 2, maybe you just want to simplify your finances. You don't want to have all these cards because it's just going to tempt you from spending. Closing a credit card can impact your credit score, but it's not so much your credit score I want you to worry about. It is the factors within the credit score. So it's the things that make up the credit score, okay? Which are 2 things, which are called your credit history and your credit utilization, okay? First and foremost, your credit history. Your credit history is basically how old your credit is. So let's say, for instance, you've had 3 or 4 cards. One card is 14 years old, another one is 10, another one is 8, and another one is 6, right? What they do is they take the age of every single card, they divide it by the amount of cards that you have, and they get the average age of your total credit. So even though you've had a card that's super old and you have a card super young, they try to get the average of it. That's why I always say it's very important to start your credit as soon as possible so your credit age grows with you. So by closing your oldest account, you could be essentially hurting your credit age because now you don't have that line reporting to your credit report. Now, once you chop that off the block, you have the other cards that you have to work with, and that doesn't help you at all. The second reason why it would hurt your credit report is because your credit utilization. So let's say, for instance, you have 3 credit cards resulting in $10,000 in total credit limit. You have a balance of $2,000 that you have to pay. And let's say that utilization makes it 20%, but in the future, you decide to chop one of the cards off and then drops a $10,000 to $5,000. You still have a $2,000 balance. Your utilization went from 20% to 40%, all because you lowered the ceiling. And then that's the thing. When you close a credit card, you take away those 2 things, your credit history and drop your utilization, right? When should you keep cards open? You should keep cards open when, for one, they're your oldest card. They've been with you from day one. They have the highest credit age, right? Because that'll help you grow over time. 2, it has no annual fee. If it's not charging you anything, baby, just keep it open. It doesn't hurt you. So for me, I have a timer in my phone that every 6 months, the cards that I'm not using that I have in my sock drawer, it ring goes off. I take the card, buy a cup of coffee, pay it off, I put the card back, reset my 6-month timer. And I do that for all my cards just to keep it active. By having the card, it'll help my credit utilization as well as my credit age. 3, a credit card has a high credit limit and you want to leverage that to keep your utilization low. Some cards may have low credit limits, right? So when you leverage the card, your utilization shoots up. But when you have other cards helping your utilization expand, it'll keep your utilization very low. All right, so you're like, Solomon, that makes sense. But what if the credit card's charging me like $99 a year, $200 a year, $500 a year? What do I do if the annual fee is super high? Well, you can do 2 things. First, you call, and when you call, you want to ask for a retention offer. Any customer service rep that you're calling, approach it very nicely. Say, hey, I'm considering closing the card. Is there anything that you can do for me in terms of a retention offer? Do you have any retention offers out right now? And they'll look at your profile. Depending on how much you spend a year, they might try to work with you in terms of keeping you. So they'll say, oh, you know what? I have a retention offer for you where if you spend $4,000, in the next 3 months, I'll give you 50,000 sign up points, right? They're basically giving you a re-sign up bonus, right? Which is great. I would take it. Or they'll be like, hey, you see you spend a lot. We don't want to lose you. We'll waive the annual fee for this year, right? And that's the greatest thing you could possibly do. If all that fails, ask and see if you have any downgrade options so that you can keep the line open and not have to close the card. Now, when they do downgrade options, they basically do a product change from a top tier card to maybe a low level tier card that doesn't have an annual fee. What that does is that keeps open your credit line. So it continues to report to your credit report. It continues to grow with you over time. And you essentially still have the credit card without paying the high annual fee. So ultimately, to kind of summarize, if you have a credit card, right, that doesn't have an annual fee and it's not hurting you, I would suggest putting it away. If you have self-discipline to not use it, by all means. If it does have a high annual fee or annual fee you don't want to pay, give them a call and let them know, hey, I'm considering closing the card. If you have any retention offers, they may or may not. It is up to you to decide if you want to take it. But let's say, for instance, they say no. You say, do you guys have any downgrade options so that I can downgrade my card so I don't lose that line, right? Then they'll see, okay, well, we can product change, from the Chase Sapphire Reserve to the Chase Freedom. So no annual fee card, and you'll keep the line open. You'll be like, hey, great, I'll do that. Downgrade it to the Chase Freedom card. They'll cancel the top tier card, send you a brand new one. You still have the credit line. You still have the credit age. You're all hunky-dory, all right? That's the best thing you could possibly do. Now, always consider the two things that will affect your score: credit utilization and credit age. So before you close your card, just ask yourself, how old is this card? What's the utilization like? Does it have an annual fee? Boom. Keep it super simple, all right? I hope this video kind of clears things up for you in terms of whether or not you should close your credit card. If you have any other questions or any ideas for future videos, drop them in the comments below. I appreciate you guys watching if you made it this far. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, peace.